Hello and welcome to Mystic Ashram, where this is the very first video of a new series on Sun, regardless of house. We're looking at Sun in Aries. So, things I know about Sun in Aries people. Um, right here we have a visual care of one of my favorite astrology books, which is Parker's Astrology. Definitely a book you should check out if you're interested in astrology in general as a course study. Now, one of my favorite descriptions of Aries is that they are courageous, they are adventurous, they are brave, they are bold. They are a cardinal fire sign. So, the very first sign of the Western zodiac, and very associated with the head. So, Aries people often bump their heads, unfortunately, or hit their heads on objects. They have a tendency to injure that part of the body sometimes. Um, Another thing about Aries people is that they have some difficulties sometimes with things like, say, sunburn or a sudden, uh, unexpected reaction to, say, aspirin or things along those lines. They are represented by the infant in the zodiac. So infants need special care, special diet. Aries may be bold and adventurous, as fire signs are apt to be. They have a lot of intellectual energy going on, and they are passionate about what they're into, and very competitive in intellectual ways. In terms of strategy, it's ruled by the planet Mars. So Mars is really into, as a persona, into war, into strategy, into uh, military uprightness, chivalric type codes of brotherhood and camaraderie, as well as the hero. So, Aries doesn't like daily grind. They prefer a more spontaneous type of career path, if at all possible. And they like to strike out on their own as leaders in a group. They enjoy the acknowledgement of leading in a particular field. With that said, they are innovators, they are inventors, and they have a very youthful air throughout their lifetimes, regardless of their physical age. They have a very bold, um, excited way of entering into new things. Now, Sun in particular is already hot, and Aries is a hot sign. So these are very hot things we're dealing with. And Sun is also, it is the outer persona, it is the aura. Some people say that the ascendant is the inner and the sun is the outer, or vice versa. I personally, what I have seen is that most people are pretty acquainted with their sun throughout their lives, and then it resonates with them and their physical outward perceptions that other people have. You know, the observance that your particular sun sign, whereas an ascendant has more to do with your inner hours and the time you introspectively spend alone. So, sun is also our relationship with our father. If you follow with Vedic astrology, but sun is representative in the Greek pantheon and Roman pantheon and so forth as a sun god. So these Ra in Egyptian Hermeticism. So this Sun Aries combination, Sun Mars, is a bright new dawning in the military mindset of Aries. They are straightforward. If you're looking for um, a more humorous approach to who Aries is in their sun, then maybe I'll do a follow up more humor approach video if you're interested. But for right now, the Aries that I know are champions of their causes. They are brave captains who are leaders in their fields. They really know how to be friendly and also get what they need done. They the country of England qualifies as an Aries country. You might be wondering, how can it be that a country has a star sign, a zodiac sign? Well, most countries have an incorporation date. They have their constitution or their declaration or whatever, and they know pretty much when exactly those things were officially signed or considered signed, and so that counts as that country's birth chart. And in this case, England counts. So you may want to consider visiting or something in England if you're in Aries. It's also got we've got the spear of Mars here. The persona, which is here in costume, is actually the facial archetypes are drawn off of Aries type facial archetypes. So there's a bold look to the eyes. There's a brave face to the wind and the sun, and this person, honeysuckle is one of the totems. Of course, the ram or the sheep, and then trees such as anything with a thorn, in particular hawthorn, is considered Aries. So any plants with thorns that are bushes. um, and so we have, let's see, red is, of course, the color. Diamond is the birthstone of Aries. Of course, being in Aries, you probably already know this, and there may be other stones as well. Now, what's the deal with stones? People often get confused with the deal with stones. Well, that also is a Vedic concept. It's very tied to Eastern medicine, wearing particular stones or having a particular metal, such as copper, in contact with your skin or your water. These things are ancient purifiers and antibiotic type things, or they balance out a particular magnetic manifestation health wise. So it's part of Vedic medicine and Eastern medicine in general to involve ourselves with these stones. It is not entirely a marketing ploy, as some videos on YouTube would have you believe. It was not completely come up with by De Boers in 1920. No, sorry. There's a lot more precedent for stones and health and energy and things like that than marketing ploy to sell jewelry. So, moving on, we have for flowers the thistle, bryony, and the honeysuckle. These are all Aryan plants. So potentially, I guess by thistle they may mean, like a Scottish thistle, to be specific. And The Roman god Mars is considered very Aries. The symbolic creature, the ram, is the creature associated with Aries. We know that. So, moving on to what I understand about Aries. Aries are very passionate romantically. We'll have to do an entire video just on the love life of Aries. There's so much to go into. Um, and what's not to love? Life is meant to love. And be on adventure and seize the day, carpe diem, and captain, my captain, and all of those amazing, brave, facing the wind, bold adventurers, swashbuckling. This is what, whether you be a male Aries or a female Aries. Now, I in this, they share this. However, I feel that all of the zodiacs have, a definite difference in their genders, and that some zodiac signs are more easily lived in the gender persona, in one gender persona than the other. Aries, in particular, Aries. Well, it's just a different scenario for Aries males versus Aries females. That's what I can say. I think that there is very much a tendency for Aries males to want to sort out their own things first before venturing out into family life or more complicated long-term career goals. Perhaps establishing oneself in their work field, seeing where they measure up in school, being highly competitive and focused in their own world for a good amount of time to build that solid foundation in order to strike out and be an entrepreneur as well as a leader of a family and have the ideal relationship and all those things that we strive for. Um, and that there's a lot of intellectual acknowledgement and passion for learning and amazing things that Aries can do physically in their youth. As long as they have the supervision, make sure they're not accident prone too much, that they really try to curb the any kind of um, look before you leap type stuff. um, their energy can really be used for amazing stuff like martial arts and meditation and just a total transcendence on an intellectual level. And once they have that foundation, there's no stopping them. And the females that I've known of Aries are very entrepreneurial. They have this ability to provide for themselves and everyone around them in a real generalissimo, real strong, real strategic, thoughtful way. They love good food, they love good times, they love wonderful parties, they love looking their best. And Aries women really want to be the head of their whole environment. They want to be in charge. They want to call the shots. That means the most to them. And so that's a beautiful thing. Some relationships can handle having that some people, if there's 2 Aries there, they might be on the same page, but maybe not, so I can see how that would certainly lead to some really interesting conversations. So, anyway, a lot of fiery energy, a lot of, going places, not settling down. So hopefully, there's someone who's willing to hold down the fort for that Aries to soldier out and do their thing and bring that bacon home and fry it up in the pan because, you know, um, Aries wants to go. They want to just do this thing. And speaking of going and doing this thing, I think we've explored Sun in Aries. What I have to say about having it speaks of the relationship with the father, and that an Aries relationship with their father is very, very, brief. Here, come, go. Very, there's a certain amount of intellectualism there. There's a certain amount of like spark of like, oh, that guy, he. I heard that song, or he played that music, or I saw him do this, and I want to do that, and wow, so that father is an intellectual force. It's a energetic force, but they're coming and going. Not a lot of meeting up, so the Aries may have kind of a sickly childhood and not have a lot of time around the father, who may be off working or traveling or doing other things. And so the Aries may pick up a book or mementos or hobbies that belong to the father in his absence, and that's where he's sparked that memento or that photo or whatever it was, that serves the place of father in the intellectual realm, and it gets him going in a direction where he can be an innovator and an entrepreneur. So he or she, I use that interchangeably. Beg your pardon on the pronouns. So I sincerely hope that this has helped you, and that you have found this interesting. And at some point, we'll have to do some stuff about the whole romance of Aries and all that fine stuff. But I hope that I have been um, generous enough and kind enough and all that stuff. Of course, Aries are fiery and passionate and have quite the temper, but there's the generosity, the wonderful enthusiasm, the happy times, the meeting of the minds, the ability to be the perfect partner for trivia night. These are great things about Aries. So, thank you so much for joining me here at Mystic Ashram, and I join you next with another sun sign for your natal Western chart. Take care, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks so much. Bye.